It's now 500 AD and Ireland has been Christianised. St Patrick has come and gone, and the man we know as St Columkill will shortly spread his monasteries across Europe. In the short term there's a monastery here 300 or 400 yards behind us. Nothing of it left at this stage. The monastery was demolished in the 1600s and the stones apparently have been used to build a barn on the site of the monastery. We can't confirm that. But let's say we're here, it's 500 AD, and the monks in the monastery are getting ready to do what they do best, which is to illuminate and write manuscripts. Book of Kells, the Book of Durrow, or in this county here, the Annals of the Four Masters. For all we know, some of that work may have been done right here. For the monks here, there isn't much interest in some of the areas because they're not concerned about timber, they're not concerned about shipbuilding as yet anyhow. What they are concerned about is their intellectual work, and what they look for first, I would imagine, is these bushes behind me, these fruit-bearing bushes. They're called elder, they're a native Irish shrub, and they're useful in huge number of ways to a primitive or partly civilized society, or even to a civilized society. The fruit, the flowers can all be turned into different kinds of food, wine, liqueur. The bark, the flowers, the fruit can be used to make dye of different colours. And that will be of some use to the monks because they're interested in any kind of skill. But the reason they seek out this area here is that elder is an excellent marker for a badger set. If you see elder, look around, you're probably going to find badger sooner or later. Badgers are important to the monks because they produce a very fine kind of hair which can be used as brushes and as pens. So they'll be seeking that out first. Then they'll probably make the handles of these same brushes from the elder, and they'll probably make some use of the fruit as well. Even though they have very sophisticated kind of inks and dyes, there probably is some use for the elder. Now that's not the main reason they would come to this area here. Something far more important awaits them just behind me here. Oak. Oak apple galls. Now these are growths which naturally appear on oak, provided they've been visited by a particular insect called the gall wasp. And the gall wasp is a parasite which lays an egg on an oak leaf or an oak bud. There's different species that do it different ways. But the effect of laying the egg is to create scar tissue. Then as the egg hatches and as the grub develops, it irritates the plant further by producing various chemicals, and the scar, as you might call it, gets bigger and bigger and bigger, until finally you have what we call an oak apple gall. Now the oak apple gall, once it's mature, it turns into a brown timbery substance. The insect inside it eventually comes to maturity and flies away, but most of it's left behind, this timbery material. If you heat it enough to turn it to charcoal, if you pound it up finely, you get the finest ink which was available in those days, from 500 AD onwards. So from these very humble beginnings, you get the Book of Kells, Book of Durrow, Annals of the Four Masters, and all the rest of it. And if Columkill visited here, if he had a project in mind, I think we can take it that he might have started with this very tree, or one of its antecedents.